Okay. I won't deny I was a little scared when I knew Alan was being my moderator. Thank you for not sharing that pizza story with the Russian police. Anyway, so we've been down to Tomé, which is in West Africa. As you know, we've mostly been collecting in Peniche, in mainland Portugal, and in the Azores since 2006. And because São Tomé is a Portuguese-speaking country, and we have very close ties, cultural ties with them, we decided to go there and give them a try and see, what we could do with those folks. São Tomé, again, is a Portuguese-speaking country. It's right on the equator. I mean, literally on the equator. You can get that classic photo of you with one leg in the northern hemisphere and the other in the southern, which we did, of course. It's volcanic in its origin, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country. There's very, very impressive rock work when there's all these magmatic intrusions. There's just really dark basalt rock all over the place. It's really, really cool. So either from land or from the water, you can actually get these really cool pictures. That's Nuno over there, swimming naked, because it's fun in Africa, swimming naked. That's us playing around with the local folks. I mean, extremely, extremely helpful and very good people. I mean, as soon as we got there and we explained what we wanted to do, everybody came and helped. But I'll let you know a little bit more about that. Obviously, we worked a lot with the fishermen, with the local fishing crowd. It's mostly, I should say, exclusively artisanal fisheries. There is some commercial fishery, but not from the São Tomé people, mostly European vessels that go down there and basically destroy everything, but I'll get into that a little further. We've done our homework, of course. We went to Google and we talked to a bunch of people. And we learned that there actually have been quite a few scientific field trips over there. The National Geographic has done some stuff, the California Academy of Sciences. They've published a bunch of papers on local fauna. This is just one of multiple interesting papers that are out there. Interestingly enough, we actually know most of those folks. Peter Wirtz, to name but a few. A lot of people that we actually work with them, especially Nuno, has done a lot of work with these folks. So we contacted them and they explained a couple of things about the local processes, and it was really nice. So that's us. In the middle there, you don't know this guy yet. This is Telmo. He's actually my business partner. He's one of the co-founders of Flying Sharks. Hopefully he'll start coming to these meetings in a couple of years. He's a researcher. He's got 20 plus years of fisheries biology on his back. He's got papers published with Daniel Pauly, who's one of the fisheries gods, as you know. So Telmo obviously had to be part of this expedition because he knows a lot about this stuff. So we planned a lot of dives, and we basically wanted to go around, dive, see what's out there, talk with the people, and see what we could do. So again, we did a lot of dives from boats. We did some dives from land as well, very, very simple conditions, but we managed to establish a couple of good deals with a local dive shop. So we did a lot of fun things. We left from the beach every now and then. We did some freshwater dives as well, which is a little scary. Nuno can tell a few cool stories about that. Not very good visibility as it happens with these things. But some cool stuff. We got a lot of photography done, underwater photography. In fact, we're helping the local government prepare a catalog, a book, in fact, of the local species. And these are just a few of the many, many very, very cool species we've seen out there. This one over here is particularly cool. We knew about this guy. During our homework, we knew about this undescribed serenid, a little grouper that we knew was there. Peter Wirtz, in fact, talked about it, but it hasn't been described yet. And we saw it, and it was a very interesting chase, because we saw this thing and we just had to get a picture of it. And in fact, we brought one back with us because we want to, describe it and work with it. Anyway, these are some of the freshwater species we saw out there. This is not us. This is our fine friend Steve Bailey in Fiji. But we just thought this picture was so sexy, and this is exactly what we did out there. So we much preferred to use Steve's than ours because we're ugly people. And these are this is just some of the records that we compiled while we were over there. I mean, not to brag, of course, but we were there for a total of 3 weeks, and we recorded about 100 different species out there. And again, not to be inelegant, but the local fisheries board has been doing this work for quite some time, and they've got a database of 50 species. So we kind of impressed them when we got there with our little flash disk, and we said, hey, we've got all these pictures. We'd like you guys to have this. And when they saw just how many species we had identified in just 2.5 weeks, they were, impressed. So then, of course, it was time, while taking pictures and all that, we got in the water and we collected some fishes. We released them. We only brought a handful back, which I'll show you in a bit. But we wanted to see how they behave, which are the easy species to catch, which ones are hardest. So we basically collected a few things, and then we would release them. I got a cool video here in the corner that I'll show you, just us collecting a soap fish and then releasing it. Let's see how we go. There we go. So that's basically what we did. We collected a bunch of things. We would get the little GoPro and get some footage and then release it. We just wanted to get a feel of how hard or how difficult, how easy it would be to collect. These soap fish are easy. I will admit that soap fish are not hard. So then it was time to look at fisheries. Fisheries, what's happening out there. So we started by going to the local market. We wanted to see what was happening. There's some invertebrates. There's a lot of fish, of course. And then after the markets, we also went into the beaches. The markets were okay, you see a lot of different species, and these things are being sold for restaurants, for people. But the beaches showed us something scary, very, very scary. Very, very small fish. These guys go out there with nets, and they basically land their catch on a tarp, exactly as you see there. And they're very small. I mean, a lot of these fish are the size of this clicker right here. They're 3-4 inch long. There's very small fish. These are boxfish. They're not even edible, but they're landing these things. Even smaller fish, and really it was scary. I mean, I've been working in fisheries for quite a few years. Telmu, my business partner, has been working in fisheries for quite a few years as well. And it's just we were amazed at just how incredibly small these fish are being landed. So fish stocks over there are basically beyond depletion. I mean, it doesn't even qualify as depletion because these things, again, are being landed so incredibly small, mostly because the local fishing community, they've got these really small engines, so they can't really drive their boats that far from shore, which basically means that the area that's fished around the island is very, very narrow, and it's just depleted like crazy. And if you go out, then you've got the European trawlers that are basically making sure that everything out of that area is depleted. So it's a very, very scary scenario. So that's what we saw out there on the beaches. Again, all of these fish, I mean, they're being collected way below their maturation size. The size, they haven't had a chance to breathe yet, which is bad, of course. So what can we do? We were talking to these guys, drinking beer with them, and we were like, geez, I mean, what can we do about this? And certainly we've had a few government meetings. I'll tell you about those in just a few minutes. And certainly one thing is, a couple of marine protected areas. They've actually been thinking about this for quite some time, and we're trying to promote a couple of marine protected areas over there where basically you can create a spillover effect. Those fish are protected there, they can breathe, and then they'll spill over outside. The other thing, of course, is you can try to build up their engine capacity so they can move further from shore. But then, of course, if you do that, you're only going to extend your problem. So you have to make sure that by giving them more boat capacity, you can't have more boats in the water. Otherwise, you're just, augmentating the problem, which is not good. So went to the local market also to understand the socio-economic, just how important is fisheries to these folks, and it's critical, basically. It's their livelihood. So it's all very fine for us, you know, Westerners to get out there and say, oh, this is overfished and these guys should stop. Well, but they'll die. So you have to come up with some sort of a solution that doesn't kill people. So obviously, which is a good type of solution, I suppose, the one that doesn't kill people. Obviously, we want to work with these guys. We want to convert some of these fishermen to, you know, we want them to stop working with dead fish and start working with live fish. But we have to be extremely careful when doing this, because otherwise, everybody in the island, it's a very small island, it's got 200,000 people, and everybody knew we were there. So everybody's going to go out there and collect live fish, and we're going to be, you know, in our hotel room and people knocking on our door with live fish in buckets. And we don't want that, of course. So we have to be extremely careful. So we're actually talking to a lot of people, local government, local folks, fishermen, and we're trying to come up with a way to do this in a way that's positive, in a way that's actually going to solve problems and not create more problems, of course. So there we go. We'll have to treat this very, very carefully. We mingled with the locals. It was really cool. We had a lot of beer. We played some foosball. We won a couple times too, which is impressive. And we had a lot of meetings with local NGOs. These are the guys from Marapa. Marapa is the largest NGO over there. They mostly focus on turtles, but other things as well. And their work is really cool. They're basically trying to shift these commercial turtle fishermen from killing these turtles and rather have them take tourists, watch the turtle's nest and all that stuff. So of course we're trying to help with that and build up on that. We had a few institutional meetings. We were very underdressed for our first meetings. We thought, you know, it's a relaxed country. We don't have to worry about that. Well, we were wrong. We got shut down, so we had to go back to our hotel room and then dress up and look really cool. And then all doors opened and we had all sorts of meetings looking really sharp. The Department of Veterinary Services, the one before was actually the Fisheries Board. We had a lot of meetings with those guys. You know, we really want to work with them. We went to the Prime Minister's office. We had the meeting with the Prime Minister. We asked the Prime Minister to take a photo with him, and he was very polite, and he said, no, let's not do that. So, but we got a picture. As soon as the meeting was over, we made sure there were no cameras in. I should probably say this in the presentation that's going to be recorded, but who cares? Anyway. So we talked with local suppliers, and they were a little surprised when we explained what we wanted to do. We were trying to find oxygen and equipment and things, because again, as we've done in mainland Portugal and in the Azores, we want to work with the local community. We don't want to show up there with a container, 40-foot container just loaded with gear. We want to buy everything local. We want to get these guys to order stuff that comes in, and you know, we want to put some money in the local community, of course. You know, freight agent, we're working with this guy. Wilson Moraes is awesome. One of the best freight agents I've ever worked with. This is a joke for the Quentin Tarantino fans out there, the Django Unchained fans. This guy, I swear to God, I was telling him, and not, I swear to God again, not being patronizing or anything, I told him, you have to come to Portugal and teach the freight agents we work with in Lisbon how to do their jobs, because this guy was awesome. We exported the box. He was out there in the airport at 4 a.m. with us. He was helping us pack. Absolutely awesome guy. So I found out that my great-great-grandfather owns a business there, which makes it easier. Permits. We had so many meetings with the government. You know, the whole process was it was smooth, it was very fluid for us. You know, they gave us permits to collect, to ship, to transport, to export, to do everything we needed. So we actually got a permit to export one box. We wanted to do one box and see how did the process flow, and it actually it flowed pretty nicely. So we went out there, we caught a couple of fish. It was actually not this fish, but we got that serenid I was telling you about, the undescribed species, and a couple of others, but we got a couple, and then we got a moray eel, you know, a couple of things that we just brought back, and we set up a little holding station by the dive club, which was that was a little heavy, but I like to take pictures. Plus, I have a herniated disc, and so So then we bagged everything. Again, we had the local community, you know, just playing with us. We explained everything we were doing, making sure everybody was happy and everybody understood what we're all about. You know, we want to move these fish to public aquaria around the world. We want to promote São Tomé exhibits throughout the world and put some money in the community. And this is our very first Flying Sharks box coming from São Tomé. So that's it, you know. What can I say? There's a large number of interesting species out there. We established really good relationships with the local government, with local NGOs, and we want to do, you know, all these things conservation related with them, promote ecotourism, promote marine protected areas, work with the local community, research projects. Again, like I said, we're working on helping these guys set up a book. This is something that they've been wanting to do for years and years, and then we basically said, well, that's easy, you know, we'll start working on it. Nunu is working on it already. He's like 3/4 done with this São Tomé book that we're going to do. Collections, of course, and this I think is really cool, is you know how we have the Flying Sharks Research Fund, right? Like we get our clients to contribute with a small percentage of their invoice, and that's used for research. And what we've told the local government, and they thought was a cool idea, is all orders for São Tomé fish will basically, that research fund fee will stay in São Tomé. It'll be used by the local population. So that's it. Thank you so much for your time and the RAW Program Committee. And have a great meeting, everybody.